Good Thursday.
And a very happy noon to you guys.
Oh, wow.
So today is one of those days where we had scheduled a topic, but we decided to create another one.
Oops.
Because this is a conversation that we've been hearing quite a bit, a lot, context-wise.
Quite a bit, a lot
over the last week or so. So we figured it would be more relevant. Okay, so today's conversation is going to be a relationship-related conversation.
Relationship or relationship?
And
this is something that a lot of people struggle with. In one way or another, for different reasons, various reasons. So hopefully this conversation will be helpful to many, whether you are in a romantic relationship with somebody else or something else. Not romantically.
It doesn't even have to be romantic.
It's just a relationship.
The basis of that relationship.
Between you and blank.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be a person.
That person, no, it doesn't have to be a person.
Like you can be romantically, like you can be in love with cereal. I've been there.
Yes. Actually, thinking about what we're going to talk about, I'm like, yes.
It doesn't even have to be a person.
No, it doesn't even have to be a person.
So look, there was a time where it's so funny. It's funny, but kind of dumb. But like when you're kids, you say things that don't make any sense. But there would always be this thing where one of us, I have two brothers. I have an older brother and a younger brother. And so obviously being the middle child and the only girl, I got everything I wanted. So that has nothing to do with what I'm about to say. I'm just bragging. And when one of us would say, oh my gosh, I love blank, whether it's we would go camping on the river. I love going to the river. I love inner tubing. I love whatever we would say. I love something. Somebody would be like, well, if you love it, why don't you marry it? Like sassy like that. If you love it, why don't you marry it? Like you can marry a bowl of cereal. I'm sure somebody would. This is
Alexa will not marry you, in case you're wondering. She will not.
Alexa, will you marry me? I think our Alexa's going off downstairs.
Really?
From Elda's computer. Is it going off down there? Maybe not.
Anyways, so today we're going to be talking about the foundation of your relationship so that you can assess your foundation of your relationship. And assessment is important because once you have a solid assessment with regards to what is, then all you have to do is make a decision with regards to where would I like to move on from here? Because step one with regards to creating change is to become aware.
Oh.
What?
I was going to say to change.
Step one
to change.
Change is
to change. Okay, episode over.
All right. So, I want to ask you guys a question. Is the basis of, so think about different relationships in life. This is more than just romantic relationship. However, if you are involved in a romantic relationship, then you should, put an even bigger emphasis with regards to this, because chances are is that is probably the person that you spend the most amount of time with. But, with regards to different relationships in life, any romantic ones as well, is the basis of your relationship a needs-based or a want-based now?
Wait. I kind of want to change that too. Because a lot of people want to be in a relationship, and those same people need to be in a relationship.
Wait.
Listen.
Wait. So do you see what I have below that?
Whisper.
Read it.
To me. I can't. You know. I still have the same opinion, but go ahead. And I will talk
so
about
that being said, when we're talking about is the basis of your relationship need-based or want-based, when we talk about need, what we're saying is the basis of your relationship dependency-based, that you depend on that person and that is why you need them and that is why you are in a relationship with them? Or is it desire-based? Simply because you just really like being around them.
Okay, can I tell you mine now? Because I don't disagree, but I also do think that people who really want to be in a relationship are the people who feel like they need to be in a relationship because there's something they need from that other person to feel more whole because they don't feel whole in themselves. That might hurt somebody. But there's that versus improves the quality and adds value to my life. So I choose to be in this relationship. Now they're all a choice, but one feels like a need. I want to be, do you want to be in a relationship or do you just want to be in a relationship with me? Like, is the relationship like, oh, I want it?
I want to be in a relationship with you.
But it's not that you just want a relationship.
No.
Right? Do you need me to feel whole and complete in yourself?
No.
Right. And do I add value to your life?
Yes.
Do I improve the quality of your life?
Yes.
Do I don't know, whatever. Those are the two things that make a good relationship is when both parties feel like I'm in this relationship because it adds to the quality of both of our lives and adds value to both of our lives. That's just my 2 cents.
So maybe we can turn it around and say, is the basis of your relationship dependency-based or desire-based?
Okay, I'm just going to spit this out and we might need to reframe it. But,
that's okay.
I don't even want to say all relationships because not all relationships are wanted, which is usually relationships people are unhappy in, or won't add value to their lives. But a needed relationship is not always a desirable relationship, but a desirable relationship. How am I trying to say this?
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like one can be the other, but the other can't be.
Yeah, this like you can desire to be in a relationship because you are dependent on something.
Yeah, it's like, yes, I desire it, but I desire because I feel like I need. But a desired relationship doesn't always have to fall under the category of needed or dependent.
All right, so we're just gonna blurb things out, and you guys can interpret it however you want to. Here's what it comes down to. A wholesome relationship is a relationship where you're in it purely because you really want to be around that thing or person. There's no need, there's just want. If we're talking about relational freedom, what we're striving to achieve is all of the people that are in our lives because we truly love to be around them. We do not need them financially. We do not need them spiritually. We do not need them emotionally. We do not need them physically. We do not need any of that because we have all of that from within. But what we have is because it is truly more fulfilling. Okay, let's take an example of, let's say, your best friend. Do you have a relationship with your best friend because you're like, this person is awesome? And let's say if they, were to cancel something on you last minute, which they don't normally do because, let's say, they had an interview that they've been working towards. Are you going to give them shit about it? Or are you like, I know that this is for your greater good and I just truly care about you and I want the best for you. Therefore, no, we do not need to hang out together tonight. That's totally fine.
I've been in a codependent relationship and I'm trying to put the right words. So think about relationship is an interaction. Why don't we look up the word relationship? Because this can be had. People who are like, oh, I'm addicted to sugar. You have a bad relationship with sugar, right? So relationship, the way in which two or more concepts, objects, or people are connected, or the state of being connected. This is going to propel us forward. Okay. The way in which two or more concepts, objects, or people are connected. Okay. So first of all, let me backtrack just a little bit. I do believe that we all need each other in one way or another. I believe that people need people because we are social creatures. So there is a certain level of need for connection. But to what degree is that need harming you? Would you agree? Imagine you're the only one on this earth and there's no other people. Right. That's, as a human being, we need connection. We need interaction. We need socialization. And so there's a certain degree, but you have to ask yourself, what is the relationship? I mean, we do have a relationship with ourselves, but that wouldn't be considered by the definition of the word, two or more objects or people or whatever. But you do have a relationship with you and your soul. Two objects or two concepts, right? And what is the standing of that relationship? Because ultimately, that's where it starts. With you and yourself. Those are the two concepts, or people or objects. Yes. And when you can create a positive, valuable relationship with you and yourself, you then can go, and when you create relationships with other people, be it friends, be it your family, be it a significant other, you have the ability to communicate in a different kind of understanding because you are good with yourself. A lot of people get into relationship, and where the problem starts is they get into a relationship thinking that this person is going to fill a hole that they themselves need to fill first. Nobody but you will ever fill a hole that lives in you. I'm going to say that again. nobody but you will fill a hole that lives in you. So when we go and we use other objects or concepts or people to try to fill holes, shit storms happen. Relationship with food. How many times I'm not just trying to like pass blame on anybody. I think pretty much all of society has been guilty of any of these things at one point or another.
Yeah, I agree.
Using, I have anxiety, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling stressed, I'm tired, eat, I have a hole and I need to fill it with food. And usually it's not chicken breast and broccoli. Because it isn't the food we need, it's a feeling we're trying to sweep under the rug. It's a hole we are trying to fill with something other than ourselves. Then you go into a relationship. If you go into a relationship of any kind trying to fill these holes, it's always going to fail. It's always going to fail. There will be miscommunications. You won't know how to communicate. You will hold your feelings in. You won't talk about something that's hard or hurts, or you'll lash out at somebody. Or because why? We've all got holes. We're like fucking Swiss cheese, baby. You got to fill that shit in like mozzarella. Solid cheese. Cheddar. Don't be Swiss cheese. That should be the name of this show.
Don't be Swiss cheese. Yeah, so like we have different. So like the concept of.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Sorry. Look, even if you fill in the holes, this world is like, life is hard. Something's gonna put another hole in you. But who fills it? You have to be the one that has the ability to fill it. Responsibility. You have to be responsible for filling those holes. Something in life is going to punch another hole in you with the fucking whack-a-mole hammer. Boom! And you got to be able to fill it in. That is the ultimate power.
Mm-hmm. So I think a question that we all need to ask ourselves is, because we have different relationships with different things, with different people, right? Is, why are you in this relationship? That is probably one of the most powerful questions you can ask.
Because I love you.
And then after you write that down, the next question that you need to ask yourself, well, is this desire-based?
I wonder if they heard that.
Did you guys hear that? Baby farted
right on me. We have a good relationship. You can fart on me.
I would love it if you guys heard it. So, what is the basis of your relationship? Is it want-based, or is it need-based, in the sense that, is it dependent? So let's take it one step deeper now. Okay, we have different interactions with different things and humans. Okay, physically, emotionally, financially, spiritually,
mentally.
Would you say that mentally and spiritually are like together?
Sure.
They're separate, but they're kind of together. Okay. So like, ask yourself, thinking about those 4 different elements: physically, emotionally, financially, mentally. Like, where would your relationships fall under and why? Like, are you in a relationship with someone simply because you have financial dependence on them? Wow. And there's no right or wrong. You just have to figure out to what extent are you going to tolerate this. Let's put an example. When we were born and we were all infants, we were kids, even teenagers, we were all dependent on our parents. Physically, financially, mentally, spiritually. But as we grew up, it became a little different. We were probably no longer, and of course it's different for everybody, especially depending on the culture and, you know, like the household that you lived in. But maybe, like, you know, once we become teenagers, like most of the time, like mentally and spiritually, we're no longer dependent on our parents. In fact, it's probably the exact opposite. But we're still financially dependent on them. And that's why, you know, like we still live in the same house and, you know, like have dinner together. And then what happens, you know, like as you get a job and you're now able to take care of yourself, you're no longer financially dependent on your parents, but do you still keep that relationship? If so, is it because it is now mentally and spiritually fulfilling you, or is it guilt-based because you're family? Do you guys see like where I'm going with this? Like, every relationship evolves over time, but something that we all need to acknowledge is what is the basis of that relationship? And if it is dependence-based, then why is it dependence-based, and how long am I going to tolerate it? Let's say, you know, financially you were independent, and then let's say you lost your job, you had one paycheck, and now you moved back in with your parents. Are you moving back in with them simply because of the financial dependency, or because you really want to move in with them? Because the dynamics of your relationship will be based on the foundation of that relationship. And that's why it's important to acknowledge what is the foundation of the relationship. And if it is dependence based, because it will interfere with the dynamics at some point in time, what is my timeline and what am I willing to do about it? As far as I'm concerned, you know, none of us really want to, you know, just live in our parents' basement when we're in our 40s and our 50s. And if you do, there's nothing wrong with that. If you do, maybe it's because you have a very deep spiritual and mental connection with your parents.
It really doesn't matter what you do if you're truly, genuinely happy.
It doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is that if the dynamics are interfered, it's probably because there is more of a dependence base rather than a want base. So how long are we going to tolerate it? Because then what's going to happen is that there's going to start being some form of resistance.
If you are in an unhappy relationship, right? So
right, like
look, there can be
if the dynamics are not wholesome.
Right.
Absolutely.
So there could be a financially dependent relationship.
Yep.
Where it's by choice of both parties of the relationship. And it's not like there's a difference between that and like I'm staying in this relationship because I need financial support, not because I actually want to be in this relationship. So there's a difference. I just wanted to make the distinction because there are some couples by choice that are like, one's a stay-at-home parent and the other is, you know, brings in the bread. but it's by choice. So if it's a happy relationship, it's not only there because you need financial support or because you need emotional support or something like that. Then that's different.
Yeah, of course, it's absolutely different. Like, let's say you're in a relationship and either you or your significant other is the stay-at-home parent. Like, if this is the decision that you made because from a spiritual and mental level, it adds more value to both of you guys, then the dynamics are wholesome, and it's probably going to add more value to both parties. But if, let's say, one person, let's say if that has not been the mutual decision, and one person just goes out and hustles, and the other person by choice, with no purpose or agreement between both parties, chooses to stay at home, then guaranteed that there's going to be resistance. Because the dynamics are not agreed upon both parties.
If it's not making both parties happy.
Yes.
It's disagreed on. The dynamics not agreed on.
Right.
Which means one party isn't happy. It's not a good relationship.
Right.
By the way, if one party isn't happy, the other one isn't either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So those are the questions that you need to ask yourself in order to have a wholesome relationship with anything. Like, some of you guys, when you very first came to us, your relationship with carbs was faulty. Why? Because you either wanted it away, and if you wanted it away, it's because you were very dependent on it. And if it was in front of you, you couldn't control yourself. Right? So that is a dependent relationship. You were dependent on carbs in order to control your state. When you shifted your relationship with carbs, you can have carbs around you and you're like, I'm cool anyways, because my mental, spiritual, and physical state will not be dictated by the presence of this carb. Rather, I will control it. So the energy that goes into it is very, very different. And that either causes chaos or honestly like wholesome, right? So that's why it's important to acknowledge with regards to any relationship in life, be it your cereal, be it your mom, be it, your significant other, is why are you in this relationship?
And are both parties benefiting?
Yeah. And like we said, sometimes there's a time and a place for everything, right? Like, there is a phase in our life. There was a phase in our life where we needed certain people in order to do something, right? Like, when we were toddlers, we all needed somebody to take care of us, so there is a time and a place for that. But if you're an adult and you need to be taken care of because you can't take care of yourself, then there is some dependency here. And the dynamics won't be wholesome. So that's all I got.
That's all I got.
That's all we got for you guys today. We hope that you found value from today's conversation. We hope that this cultivated a little bit of thought.
Go fill in your Swiss holes.
Go fill in your Swiss holes, you guys. Just quick heads up. Normally Fridays are guest interview days, but tomorrow we will be out of the office. And in fact, we will be out of the office on Monday as well. So as for tomorrow and Monday, there will be no espresso. That being said, you guys, we will see you back on Tuesday for Q&A day.
Have a beautiful rest of your day and weekend, and we will catch you Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.